So long ago, I joined the BugerWork, I don't know how to say it, the Bbox 60 group buy, and then I totally forgot about it. Once I received the notification that it finally shipped, I then realized that I hadn't ordered the PCB yet. So then once I got the PCB and that arrived, I realized I ordered a PCB that isn't compatible with the keycap set. Oh yeah, I also ordered foam to go with this PCB that isn't the right one to go with the keycap set. Oh, it gets better. Or I should say worse. I then noticed that I didn't buy all of the keycaps that I needed. Luckily, I was able to find the keycaps that I needed on Drop's website, but still, the PCB is not exactly compatible. You'll see what I mean later. So, before we get started, please make sure to like this video because I'm making all the mistakes that you don't have to make. So now opening this box up, the first thing that I see are the Commodore 64 stickers. I thought I was going to put these on, but I've decided not to. I'm going to save those. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future, maybe not. Then you get all of these plastic pieces that you have to clip out and put together. It's almost like you're putting together a plastic model, so if you like Gundams, this is for you. Comes with a set of instructions, which are written out like IKEA instructions. No words, just images. The little tiny hardware bag it comes with has standoffs, screws, and rubber feet for the bottom. I didn't really understand the standoffs for this design, you'll see what I mean later. So let's get to building. First thing I gotta do is pull all of these pieces out of their plastic frames. Then you just line these tabs up and give them a little slide, pretty simple. The side pieces you literally just slide on. This part made me think about how awesome newer designs can be. Like, what if there were acrylic sides or metallic sides? Booger? Budger? Booger. If you make those, I'm taking credit. So now that the case is put together, I can put in the USB jack port attachment, is what I'll call it. Just snaps right into place, very nice. Finally, the last of these plastic parts, we put the stand together, which I needed to break out the actual clippers for. And there you have it. Free stand. Awesome. The circular rubber feet have an adhesive on the back, so you just peel those off and you put them on the bottom of the case. So very important step here. Make sure to remove all of the hardware super carefully. And then proceed to drop them all over the floor. Okay, so now we can take out our KBD Fans DZ60 RGB V2, which is not set up for the keycap layout that this comes with. So now this is what I was talking about with the standoffs earlier. It tells you to put them in first and then screw the plate on and then screw the PCB on top, which you would think makes sense. But if I put the standoffs in, then the USB-C port would not line up with the case. I wanted to make sure that the foam for all of the hot swap sockets and screws lined up correctly, which they did, thankfully. And now we can move forward to lubing up these stabs. So these are the Zealpc branded transparent screw-in stabs, and I really like these because you can see everywhere that you're applying the lube and making sure that it's spread out evenly. I use Krytox 205 G0 on the stabs themselves, and then Permatex grease for the wires. I like to always point out to apply the Permatex everywhere that the plastic meets the wire. These don't have the little plastic bottom that you need to clip off, so that saves us a step. So now let's do the wires. Oh. So like I was saying, you want to put grease everywhere the plastic touches. So now this is what it looks like when the stabs are all attached to the PCB. And now I just have to screw them in using the screws that came with the stabs. At this point, it should look a little bit like this. We've got our stabs in place, very nice. Now we need to screw the PCB into place, so I just use the standoffs in the PCB and then I tighten them by putting the screws in on top of them. Probably not the way you're supposed to do it, but that's just what I did. So next is the foam that sits on the top of the PCB and underneath the plate. Line that up. To set the plate correctly, I just put switches in all four corners to line it up. I watched a few other videos that did the same thing, which worked out perfectly. And now we can put in all our switches. For this particular build, I wanted to use the Kailh box navies because I figured it's a retro style Commodore 64 looking keyboard, and I wanted it to be as close to a beam spring as possible, which I know it sounds nothing like, but that would be nice. Now for a quick power test. Everything looks good, although I don't really need RGB in this board at all. I realize since it's a retro vintage homage, tribute, whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to really need the RGB, but just to have it, you know. Now we can put on all of the keycaps. I went with the 80s kit, the alphas, and I got a pack of the Mac modifiers because I use Mac. I even opted for the exclusive Artisan. So So now this is what I meant earlier when I said the PCB wasn't compatible with the keycaps. These keycap sets do not feature a shift key that fits the DZ60 RGB V2 layout. So for purposes of just finishing this video, I'm just gonna keep it like this, but I ordered the DZ60 RGB Onzi with the foam that goes with it, and I'll change it once it comes. Let's take a look at these Artisans. Cute. It's got the old Commodore 64 look. I'm gonna be honest and say I actually prefer the keyboard aesthetic without the Artisans, but I'll throw them on just so that you can see how it looks. Now, I know many of you out there are not clicky fans, but we're gonna do a sound test anyway. So like every new keyboard that I build, this was a learning experience. As everyone saw earlier, the shift key, that is not the correct shift key. But now that being said, there was one thing in particular that I learned while making this particular keyboard that is going to help me in future builds. This was the first keyboard that I used screw-in stabs. I've been doing plate stabs and everything. These are way better. I've read it online that screw-in stabs are just superior. I'm telling you right now, they are. And the logic behind it does make sense. If you really think about it, a plate stab is really just a piece of plastic sandwiched onto another surface, is really what that is. You could band-aid it, you could do whatever you want to it, but it's really just something kind of sitting on something else. These are screwed in. They're just screwed in. They're solid. They're gonna stay there, and there's just like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but usually you get that little like tap rattle. Guys, there's no rattle there. It's like, not at all. I'm hitting it pretty hard. So, again, I would very highly recommend screw-in stabs for your next build if you haven't done it already. So now the question being, would I recommend this keyboard? Would I recommend other keyboards made by the same manufacturer? Again, I don't... Booger, however you say your name, please someone correct me in the comments. That would be great. But would I recommend one of these? Absolutely. This was super fun to build. It was very easy to build. I mean, the video may say otherwise, but it was definitely very fun. I love the way that it looks. I can't wait for my new PCB to come in so that I could fix this problem. But yeah, I just think it's an awesome aesthetic. I mean, I've been looking up other keyboards that have this same type of, build, because there are a bunch of other ones. But yeah, if you are in the market for a new custom keyboard, I highly recommend either one of these or something like it from this company, because this was really awesome. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the video if you enjoyed this or if you learned something. And I will see you in the next video.